Let me know when we're ready.
Yeah, we are.
We are
We're
live.
live.
We are damn live. Well,
Hey, man.
what's going on, big man? How are you?
I'm alright. How are you?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. Thank you very much.
I had a busy night
Very
last night.
Yeah, very, very busy. Very busy.
Mm. It was
Um,
a very busy but enjoyable night, though.
yeah.
We needed that. Yeah. So suffice to say, we're a little bit tired. So
Yeah, a little bit, just a
but,
little bit. So today's one might not be as long. If you are watching, please get involved with the conversation. We decided to move to YouTube, hopefully because it's better access for everybody that is interested in the podcast.
how's it going on YouTube, by the way? I didn't check.
We've got one watching.
Oh, nice. No, I mean
Yes.
just it's up though, right? Okay,
Huh?
good. It's up. I mean,
It's up. Yeah, 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 yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
All
It's up.
right.
We're looking good.
All right. Nice.
Yeah, this is a much cleaner stream, to be honest.
Is it?
Yeah, it's a much cleaner stream.
Oh.
It's awesome. We should have done this from the start.
Yeah, I mean, like you live and learn. Live and learn.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No worries.
Um,
No worries. All right, bro. So what we're doing, we're gonna get slander in today.
well, yeah, take it away. No Greta Thunbergs. No
Yeah.
no
No.
Boris Johnsons. Um, but the rest is up to you.
Right. So I want to talk about cultures. I want to talk about what cultures mean to different societies and the kind of the impact it has on people growing up in different societies. Like for example, me and you, we come from a different background. Yes, we're more open-minded than the majority back home,
Hmm?
but nonetheless, coming here, there was still a culture difference. There was still a culture clash in that sense.
Yeah.
But my main question is that since so many immigrants migrate towards the West because for better quality of life, does the West understand Eastern culture as well as I believe the Eastern culture has learned to understand the Western culture? Because
Yeah.
I believe there's still a huge clash there, and I believe that there's the discrepancies can still cause a lot of problems even in today's society.
Hmm.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like this can be in terms of anything. It can be in terms of marrying from a different culture. It could be in terms of working with different cultures. It could be study, whatever it is, whatever walk of life. I found that my culture in certain situations in this country was not accepted. For example, do you understand what I mean? Like certain things that I would say or talk about, it was like, what the hell are you guys talking about? This doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
You got any
Now,
examples?
um, yeah, of course, plenty. Like, um, our culture likes us to be successful. Yeah, and that's, I don't mean successful that way, especially academically. Yeah.
Yeah.
So academy is a sort of driving force in a lot of Eastern cultures for success. Sorry. And I remember at one point we had neighbors, they were from this country, of course, and we came to the time where we were doing our GCSEs, and bro, we were going through shitloads of problems, like trying to settle in this country, shitloads. And at the same time we had GCSEs and exams and so on, and we went on and passed. I went on and passed, and I did really well, and I got myself ready to go to A levels. This was the first encounter I realized that people do look at you differently. Yeah. um it wasn't so much like we're talking about racism here. It was so much like just the way you kind of pick up on things, the energy regarding it. Yeah.
Hmm.
So then when I passed my GCSEs, obviously our neighbors, they didn't do as well as we did. Bear in mind, they're from this country. And when we were discussing it, and I was in front, and her and my neighbor's parents, they asked, what did you get? And I told them what I got. Like, I got really good grades and so on. They were like, oh really? Oh, interesting. um that's funny how you know usually uh the people from the land are supposed to do better. And I
Hmm.
was like, what is she talking about? Like, what the hell does that even mean? It's just like,
Well,
I just
she
studied
actually said
hard.
that.
Huh?
She actually said that.
Yeah, 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 yeah. It was definitely like, obviously I don't remember it 100%, but it was something along those lines
Hmm.
anyway, right? So, and then the second time was I went and got my A levels, and I was going away to uni, and our neighbor wasn't, right? And he kind of like dropped out of school and whatnot, and that kind of annoyed the parents a little bit
Mm.
because they looked at it from a perspective like, why is it not our son? Why is it him? Kind of thing, you know?
Okay.
Do you get what I mean? So
Yeah, yeah.
every time I'll be talking about it, it'll be like kind of, it shouldn't be you doing this. It should be my kid, you know? So there's that aspect. And then of course you got different cultures in
Well,
terms of traditions and things.
do you
know.
think do you think that's actually a cultural thing, or it's just pure, I need to be better than? I think that's cultural thing, is that, my house needs to be half a meter, higher than yours, and we need to have better jobs than our neighbors and all that shit. That's a little bit to do with the culture, but
Well,
do you
yeah,
think
of
maybe the
course.
person was just, not the best person in the world?
But don't forget, like I've also encountered this in many different situations with cultures. Like, don't forget, bro, immigrants that come to this country that had nothing here, they grind real hard,
Mm.
and that grind is already in their blood because they have to work so hard in poverty. Yeah. So when they come here and they're getting like £10 an hour compared to what they were getting like for 1 month, they're getting that in 1 hour, bro. They're not just gonna grind. They're gonna like walk over coal for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when I was working, it was always the same story. The people that weren't working are the people that were from this country that were born here, and they were just pulling their feet and dragging their feet, sorry. And everybody else was grinding hard. And when you'd ask them to do something, it's like, nah, why should I get paid the same job for doing less work or something? I don't know what it is, just a lot, something along those lines. Anyway, why should I get paid the same as someone else when I should be getting paid more for what I do? And bro, they do nothing. Like, they're doing nothing. And that has, I don't know, maybe the society has changed, but that is still in Eastern culture to work hard like that. You know what I mean? Like the respect for specific people in society, the way we treat other people. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I know obviously it's broken in the East completely in terms of systems, but there are still principles, bro. There's still principles that are still important to the way we raise our children. You get what I mean? No one's saying you can't acclimate and you can't adapt to different cultures. But what I'm saying is, like, I don't think the West understands the East as much as the East understands the West. I don't know. What's your thought on it?
I think it goes both ways, mate.
Think so?
I don't think one understands more than the other, each other, or vice versa. As far as I know, every culture has its own perks, has its own things that they need to kind of live by, their own kind of ethos or rules. And we don't necessarily understand that. So, for example, the progressiveness. Our cultures are mainly quite orthodox and conservative in most aspects of it, especially our parents. They it is what it is. But in Western culture, a lot of people have become actually oh, let me delete that.
Are people waiting to what is that?
I think that's
Oh no, we've been we've been hacked.
I don't
Let's
know how
get,
to remove that.
what on earth is going on here? I can't believe it. This is not the right show. Of course, something has to happen like that first day on YouTube.
Yeah.
What is this?
I don't know why it's not giving me any options to delete it.
Oh my god! Just hopefully, like, just leave it, man. What can we do? Anyway, this isn't an unfiltered podcast. Anyway,
Yeah. Hey, if you like that stuff, go waste
you
your
know,
money.
click on the
Yeah, click on the
We're,
link.
we're not sponsored by them in any way.
Oh man.
Yeah, go on, tell me.
Anyway, so as I was saying, it is what it is. And like our cultures wouldn't understand this unless you grew up here. People wouldn't understand the progressiveness of Western culture. Somebody said something else.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
Gee.
Well, okay, let me put it this way. So, if somebody would come in from let's say your country now,
She should be on this podcast today, shouldn't she?
yeah, she should be. We forgot. we dropped the ball.
Yeah. Go on.
If somebody would be coming in now, they wouldn't understand why there's, they wouldn't understand LGBTQ plus, and the rest of it, they wouldn't understand it. They would think that it's something, that shouldn't be taught or stuff like that.
Of
So
course, of course.
other than that, like different, they don't tend to socialize with different cultures, especially if the neighbor culture, if that makes sense. For example, India and Pakistan, or like all the stands in Russia.
Yeah.
Those neighbors, they have this thing where they don't want to kind of mix and match and do that. Imagine if there was somebody from Pakistan who is marrying a boy in India, that would be a big no-no, and vice versa as well. It would really depend on how progressive the parents are. So that's what I'm trying to say, is that it really is kind of 50-50, in my opinion, at least.
So okay, look, why I'm saying this is because regardless of being progressive or not, the reality is that more people have come from east to west to find a better life, and that better life that was originally built in the west was taken off a lot of backs from the east. Do you get
Yeah.
if that makes any sense?
Well, no, I get that, of course. I mean,
Yeah.
Including this whole thing about the climate change and all that is pretty much kind of touches base on that. We had a chat about this last night as well. Like all these Western countries, developed countries, let's say, not Western, all these developed countries, they have used, because some of them are in Asia, some of them are in Russia.
Yeah.
So one of them is Russia, maybe. What they did is that they basically brought the planet and its state the way it is right now, all the greenhouse gases and everything, basically pollution, everything, they brought it to the way it is now. And because they did that, they had start. So that they went through the industrial revolution. They have the infrastructure, they have the money now. They can go green because they have the money. Whereas the other countries, developing countries, they're going through that now. And then the Western countries don't have a moral high ground saying that no, you're not supposed to do that. You need to find a green way of doing that. Well, you did that. You got a lot of money from that. You actually brought people from like Eastern cultures and to build your railroads and work in your coal mines and all that. So somehow, other countries, other cultures, or actually their own country, people that you brought to work in your coal mines, they want to do the same thing in their country now, and you're saying no, they're not allowed. So stuff like that. No, I agree with you. Is that a lot of good things that happened were off the back of other cultures.
That's what I'm saying. So it's like it's difficult to sometimes it's difficult to comprehend this east-west kind of thing, because obviously at the end of the day, where everybody just needs to get along as much as we can, really. Just have a couple of drinks and a couple of puffs and everyone's will be all right. so so basically, bro, what I'm saying is that, look, you went into other people's cultures, you absolutely demolished it. You took everything that was positive from it and you adapted it, and you did great with it.
It wasn't just that. Demolishing it is one way of putting it, but they actively engaged at assimilating people too.
Yes.
It wasn't just, hey, I'm just gonna, ransack everything that you have and I'm gonna leave you alone. No, it wasn't the case. For, hundreds and if not thousands of years, it was constant assimilation and westernizing of cultures that didn't really need westernizing. It's like, America going to Afghanistan saying that, hey, we're gonna create a democracy here. Like, no, it's never going to work. The democracy is never going to work. Don't stop looking at a different part of the world with the prism of your culture, because it's never going to work. The lifestyle is different. The situation, political, geographical, everything is different. You can't implement something that works for somewhere into a different culture and then expect it to somehow be a miracle place and amazing place that you've helped to develop. Like, you shouldn't have probably invaded that place in the first place.
That's a good start.
Well, yeah, exactly. That's a good start. By spreading democracy in the world is stop invading it.
Listen, all I know in regards to this is that even when it comes to languages, like even just languages are so different that you can't even, some of the things you want to say in English you can't say in different languages. Like even to that point where that's how culturally different it can be, where that can even change the system, the language that is used. Does that, I don't know if that makes any sense, mate.
Yeah, yeah.
Because the way you think in a different way. Like, for example, your mother tongue, you also think in your mother tongue, if you, obviously, if you're used to your mother tongue and you're still speaking it a lot more than, you know, your native tongue. Is that what it is? Native?
Mother tongue is native tongue, no?
Oh, I don't know. Well, the land that you're in, anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
So tired. Can't believe it.
Well, Julie is saying that absolutely agree, but this is a colonialist mentality that some countries will never be able to change. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like one of the examples is this country is that they always think, you know, they always have this chauvinistic view of world. Oh, I am, you know, we were the masters of the world, which they were at some point. Not the good masters, they were the bad masters. And, you know, it's a fact. And they always look at the world the same way. It's like as if right now, especially after Brexit, that the only place that the word would have meant something, and they've left that organization. But they still think that, oh, you know, if we say something, then people would listen. Like, nobody listens. Not even Europe listens. Like, pretty much all the, I know it's an anecdotal example, but pretty much all the friends that I have from other European countries, they laugh at the UK. It's like, you guys don't matter anymore. Nobody listens to what you guys say. Yeah. You know, you are an isolated island, and your politics are, you know, a few steps away from America's. So, like, no, we're not listening to you anymore, and, you know, you should stop acting like we are. Especially, you know, recently with all that kerfuffle with Macron. I don't know.
Oh yes. Oh my God. Yeah. Well, it's not even just that. Like, you know, the other day I read as well. We're going off topic again, but that's how it works. But you know, the other day I read that the president of FIFA, Sepp Blatter, and the president of UEFA, Michel Platini. I don't know if they've actually been imprisoned or not imprisoned, but I think they're being held in a jail somewhere. For they've actually been found guilty of taking bribes.
Oh, well,
you know,
they haven't been found. It was a fact. It was just a matter of proving it.
Exactly. Obviously, the FBI finally managed to, you know, make the link. But the craziest thing about that is, bro, is the fact that, imagine, Sepp Blatter was the guy that came in to introduce FIFA, to say this is exactly what he wanted to stop, and he, you know, and he wanted to introduce women's football and all of that kind of stuff and change the world for people and all of that.
When was the last time? When was the last time you saw the Women's World Cup? Yeah, exactly.
2018.
You actually watched it?
Yeah, bro, it was sick.
Women's World Cup. You did.
Yeah, it was sick. The US won it, bro.
Oh, okay. So, okay, yeah. I'll
Where have you been, bro?
I'll correct this.
You know, this last World Cup was it brought in 500 million viewers.
Oh, really?
Right. Yeah, man, it's picking up. Yeah,
I'm not a football person, so I would have imagined that, you know, female football is going to be much less viewers than male.
It was, but now obviously because of, you know, sports personalities in general now are becoming huge superstars. It doesn't matter what sport you're in, right?
Yeah,
the money's behind it. So now they're putting the money behind the women's football, bro. If you start pumping money behind everyone.
Yeah. If you have enough power against like social media and you know, traditional media, if you just start, you know, saying the same thing again and again. Yeah.
No, so he ends up being the guy that he's getting locked up for the same thing.
I wonder the fact that they're in jail is that they are no longer useful.
Yeah,
see what I mean?
Probably. Yeah, definitely. You know, they told him to resign. He was like, no, I'm not going to resign. I didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah, and what the fuck are these, you know, like 70 plus man doing that? They probably they don't remember what they had for breakfast, let alone how to manage this multi-billion dollar industry and you know, entertainment industry, where everyone is trying to, you know, stop racism and all that stuff, where these people are most likely are racist. And I don't want to, you know, accuse anyone of something I don't know, but likely they are, because they're from the age that it was, you know, fine to heckle people of different color when they're playing on the stadium. They are from that generation. Maybe they're different, I don't know, but the fact that
he's a prick.
The fact that they're taking bribes, and I heard that he's an absolute rude person, is most likely he's racist as well.
Yeah, incredibly, 100%, bro. You know these are called fat cats. These fat cats, they're all
Yeah,
the same, man.
yeah.
Harvey Weinstein, Sepp Blatter, anyone that's in a position. What was the other guy? Was it Berlusconi or something? The Italian dude.
Oh yeah, yeah, Berlusconi, yeah.
Again, look at him,
The
bro. Like,
groper.
yeah, the grope.
Yeah, I think there was a like
Isn't
video
he in
of him.
prison as well?
I don't remember. I don't know. Well, Julia might know.
Julia, answer that question.
But I've seen a video of him groping women from behind on national television.
That's disgusting.
Like it was like 20 or like 30 odd occasion where they just cut each clip and then him just going in doing this. So each was like, what are you doing? man?
How would bro, if I was a guy and I see him like pinch my woman's butt or something, bro, I swear to God, I'll chin him. I'll chin him. I don't care who he is, even if it was an accident and she got uncomfortable and she's my lady, bro. I'm chinning the guy.
Yeah, if you were there, you would. But if you're not there, and the guy is protected 24/7, obviously, yeah, you can't get anywhere close to him. What are you gonna do? You can't do anything.
Yeah, but for him to get that close to a lady, like there must be other people around her that I'm sure the people he hangs around with, not all the ladies. Well, I don't know. Maybe they probably do chill around with him on their own. Maybe this is why he got into trouble. So
to be honest, look, it's unfair for women to go through that. But if something like that happens and your complaint is not being heard of, like what the fuck are you still doing there? Just go, just leave the job.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're there, then you clearly you have an agenda yourself.
Yeah.
And it goes both ways for men as well, because men do get abused at work as well.
Yep,
I've seen that firsthand myself. Not on me, but on a colleague of mine, where like, oh, actually, there was a video the other day of this guy doing this social experiment. So he was him and his girlfriend would just walk down the shopping center, and then she would kind of go and pinch him in the ass and try to kind of like, hey, let's go, let's have sex now, why not coming? The guy's like, hey, leave me alone, I don't want to, just.
Did you say social experiment?
Yeah.
Oh, not these fucking social experiments.
Yeah,
they're
no,
back
but
again. Oh my
yeah.
God.
And then I don't know how true that is, but even the reaction of the people around them most likely is fake. But I think it is true, in a sense that she was trying to kind of pester the guy, and everyone was just walking by saying, what the fuck is wrong with you, man? And then he was like, hey, she just touched my butt and all that, can you help me? To a different guy. And it was like the guy just laughed at his face and just walked off. And then they reversed it, obviously. As soon as
as soon as she was touched, everyone was jumping.
Yeah, exactly.
They jumped him.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a little bit fucked up. I don't like that. That's a bit shit. I
Yeah.
think that's happened a few times. I think I've heard of these stories a few times where some men they've come out saying that they didn't like that, and they were basically just beaten down, just like, "Ah, you're a guy, like just take it." You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
normal. Like you should be happy. And it's
Mm.
like, well, if I said the same thing to a woman, it's normal. You should be happy.
I mean, man, we've covered this before. Man, when they get upset, when they lose their temper, they become aggressive in terms of violence, right?
Yeah.
And it's just the nature. It's in the DNA. That's how it is. Whereas with women, when some of them are like that, but most of the time, statistically, if they're not a very nice person, and they are the abuser in the relationship, they usually do it psychologically.
Yep.
And
Manipulation,
it drains. It doesn't start at the beginning straight away. Of course, at the beginning it will be all cute and like, hey, what are you doing, and acting sad. By the time the person either dead or has left the relationship, it's like looking back would probably think like, what the fuck, and how did I end up in this controlling person. It goes the same.
100%.
Yeah.
I know this story. I know this story very well because I had a friend of mine who went through exactly the same thing you are talking about, bro. It broke him. Like he was absolutely broken. His confidence was shot to pieces. Like I never, when I met some of his friends from his school previously, and they told me how much confidence he used to have with ladies, I could not believe it. And then it's all started kind of making sense. I see why it's happened. So obviously he ended up getting with some woman, and she absolutely destroyed his mind. Like she used to hit him. She used to hit him, bro.
Yeah.
She used to hit him, and she knew he couldn't hit her back, so you should slap him.
There was a story that not long ago where this guy was
And imagine, like, he's a guy, he gets
stabbed.
aggressive too, you know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, it's different types. Anyway, we went completely off topic here, but yeah, there's there are people who are abusive. There are people who are not really nice. But anyway, in terms of culture, I think our culture has a bigger, at least at least now, I guess, has a bigger problem than Western culture when it comes
Which
to equality, women's
yeah,
rights.
definitely.
I think what feminists and women's rights activists, like the campaigning in Western culture, I think it's a bit of a wrong place geographically to do that. I think most likely it would help if they would do it in our cultures, for our countries.
That's a very good one. Yeah, I like that
Um,
thinking.
the women's rights is not just for Western countries. It's obviously it's for the whole globe. But I think in in this culture, look, heckling, wolf whistling and all that, I get that. That's bad. I get that. But in terms of equality, when it comes to the job and how people will look at you, there's always going to be a room to improve. But I think the biggest problem in the world right now that requires like attention now is our countries in the east.
Yep.
Pretty much all countries in the east, especially the far east.
Yep.
Where by default women are a second degree lower class citizens.
Is that I think, is that also the same in Japan?
Yes,
I think
I think they might be
to a degree.
changing now. I think especially in big cities. I've never been to Japan. I don't know anyone who's Japanese, but I really like Japanese culture, so I kind of tend to follow it in a
You're a bit
way.
biased.
No, not just hentai, but no, I mean,
Now I
like,
know what you're into, mate.
well,
Now
just,
everyone knows what you're into.
just knowing the name doesn't mean, like, look, there's some
Yeah.
good hentais, like, whatever. Everyone is, but no, I like animes and like movies like that. It's one thing. I tend to kind of follow it with more traditional movies. Like, I don't know if you've seen the original Seven Samurai, the one
I
from the 80s, I think.
think so. Maybe, I'm not sure.
Yeah, so like those movies, I really like that kind of culture, and that time in Japan was quite similar to how it was in my country at the time, in terms of the how family is important. And we were discussing that yesterday. I think, I don't know if you were there.
No, this doesn't. It doesn't sound familiar to me.
So
So
yeah,
I probably wasn't with you guys when you were
probably
having this convo.
probably talking about with Axe, but yeah, it's about how family is important and how
Yeah.
much bond you have with your close relatives and all that. Values, the fact you don't want to lose your traditions and the rituals and everything, all of that. But I think now, in Japan, from what I can see, and again, I'm not an expert in that, as far as I can see, the big cities have become pretty much capitalistic cities, same as in like any major city.
Did we get another?
Hello, Victor Vance.
Okay. So, yeah, I get what you mean, but you know what? I also think, all of these values that people do talk about, there's no reason why you still can't adopt those and still be able to live a more liberal life in that sense. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, you don't have
No.
to, huh?
I didn't understand what you mean.
No. Okay. So look. So you're talking about. So we're talking about how society in the Eastern culture, in terms of like second-rate citizens and things along those lines, cultures, values, all of this,
Mhm.
There's a lot of good things in those stuff, and there's also a lot of bad
Yeah.
things in those stuff,
Yeah.
And what I'm saying is, you take the good from there, and you take the good from when if you did have an experience from the West, based on systems and blah blah blah, whatever, and you try and find the middle ground of being able to not mix but adapt to both of them at the same time. Because look, I've learned to do it. I still understand specific values, specific morals, specific principles that I remember from growing up, being from an Eastern culture, and I've adopted those things. But I've also taken from the Western culture a lot of other things which I've also adopted that have helped me to kind of find my feet
Yeah.
and also allow me to understand myself a little bit more and give me and that understanding to give me a good idea of where I want to go. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I had to, because at some point people get confused. The confusion is whether when they're trying to decide whether they want to be from the Eastern culture or the Western culture, and like, what do I do? Who do I please? How do I do it? But all of this is on this side. But all of this is on this side, and it's like that's completely wrong. That's not the way it's supposed to work. The way it's
Yeah.
supposed to work is you are in the country that you did leave to come here for a reason. You have to respect that, but that doesn't mean you completely isolate yourself at the same time from what's going on around you in that bubble, because you are still in a system that is completely different to yours. And if you do want to do well, as much as you want to keep what you want to keep for yourself, you still have to take on whatever is happening in that country you're living in at the same time.
I think it's just a sign of respect. Look, if you go to a
Yeah.
different culture or different country
Yes.
and you want to make a living there, which is fair enough, I think at least the sign of respect to to a place where you're earning your bread and butter is to actually understand them. You don't have to assimilate to them. You don't have
No.
to follow their rules. You don't have to be like them. You know, you can still be you, but at least understand it so that there is no bigotry there. And both ways, when you understand a different culture, then you would be in a much better position to explain your culture to them. You know, you
Yeah.
would understand from which point they're coming from. So it's almost like debating somebody about a specific subject where your opponent doesn't know anything about the subject, and you know about your subject and their subject at the same time, and then
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
trying to convince them about something. You know, it's pretty much a winning battle if you first educate yourself. And then don't go around telling people, oh, you don't know anything about my culture, you're racist and this and that. if you don't do that yourself, you know, if you don't make the step towards understanding the country that you're living in.
Yeah.
And for example, with us, one way that kind of the government forces people to understand the culture is this life in the UK test.
Yeah. Which is pretty shit, to be honest.
It's shit because it has turned into this money grabbing scheme, but I get the idea, but it doesn't work because, you know,
Yeah, it doesn't.
To be
That's
honest,
what I meant.
any test doesn't work. Any test doesn't work. But the reason being is that it tests your short memory, doesn't test your knowledge about something. And the reason
And
why,
even then, some of the terminology that they expect some people to understand, either in some situations has been extremely simplified, or in some situations it's been extremely complex. Because I've done it, right? So I know this test well as well.
yeah,
And I remember they were asking questions about, like, you know, the 1890s, and I was like, how on earth is a person who has no idea about what even 1890 looks like in English
yeah,
is
yeah.
going to identify his knowledge of people in this country don't know what happened in 1890, bro.
No, if you take that test from a person who was bred and, you know, born and raised in UK, let's say a very educated person, they probably wouldn't pass the test.
No, they wouldn't.
And
I
that's that.
don't think so.
And I don't think anyone should pass those tests because they're just completely useless. Like I said, they test your short memory, and same as like GCSEs and all of those tests, they're complete bullshit because all it does is it tests your short memory, not your knowledge. Somebody is not stupid because they're miserably failing at the test. That's because maybe they have a creative mind, and maybe they have long-term memory.
Yeah, they're a different setup.
Yeah, exactly. So
They're built different.
no, exactly. Everyone's mind works differently, but then these tests are only checking specific type of mind, if that makes sense, right?
Yes.
So,
Yeah. I get you. They're testing specific minds. They're not testing minds that
Yeah.
are supposed to be tested in that genre.
Look, when I was at the college,
Profit.
university, whatever you call it, test comes. There were people who did absolutely nothing, and attendance was close to zero. They just go party, whatever.
Yeah.
And then test comes, they would always get credits. I'm like, how the hell are you getting credits when you have absolutely no idea? What they do is they basically just about 2 weeks or 3 weeks before the exam,
They grind.
they would just grind it. And then the next day, forget about everything. That's it. Gone.
That's it.
But how is that test useful? Because you're not determining the level of knowledge of that person. You didn't, you know, improve the knowledge about specific subject,
Yeah.
all you're doing is that, hey, go and read it, memorize it, and after that you forget. Like, if you've done the test, did you remember the things that you've learned, until the test? Let's say after about 3 or 4 days, maybe a week. After a week, do you remember anything? Apart from 1 or 2 questions, everything else, do you remember? No.
No. What about you?
I probably remember a couple of questions about Anne Boleyn and like saints, the patron saints, and like apart from that, nothing else. It's all gone. And the reason why is because all I did was to pass the test, go on the tube, going to work, do the test, and then memorize which answer was correct. I did that for a month, and then I passed. And they told me they're not supposed to apparently give you the answers. And I said like, yes, like, can you tell me how many I didn't do? I said no, you clicked everything correct. I got 100%. So it's useless. It's useless. The test is useless. That's the way it is, and
you killed me.
but
You killed me.
but having said that, look, I mean, I think
Patron. I'm so sorry, bro. Go for it.
There was a question about Diwali as well, which I forgot what it was.
This guy.
But,
All right, go on.
I'm not even joking, mate. They were actually genuine questions.
I know, that's why I'm laughing, because you're being serious.
So I think that there are better ways of getting that. I think London or like major hub cities are much better at it now, and different cultures have integrated quite well, especially with London, because we live in London, we know how it is.
Yeah.
But different cities, and especially the ones with close to zero immigration, they have a long way to understand how people.
Yeah, definitely.
It's like a spider in your house, or an insect, let's say. And I'm not comparing it to that. I'm just saying it as a what do you call that comparison? Not comparison, like association thing.
Metaphor.
Not a metaphor.
What?
Analogy.
Oh, okay. Along the same line.
Yeah. So if there is a spider or any insect or any kind of unknown thing to you that crawls into your room, bedroom, whatever, you don't want to touch that, because instinctively human brain says that's the thing that I don't know. I don't know where it's come from. I don't know what it is. I don't want to touch that. I want to kill it and throw it away, right? And as much as you can, you try to kill it.
It's
with
instantly a threat,
with a spray that you don't even have to get close to it,
Yeah.
It kind of works.
That's a very good analogy.
It kind of works similarly. People who I don't know, people who look different to me, or people that I know, they don't talk the same language that I talk. They look weird. I'm afraid of them. Basically, that is the main problem about how people are against immigration, or people are against different cultures. It's just because they don't know them. I think as soon as you start talking to them, and you start socializing with them, is that you will realize, hey, actually they're not too bad. Hey, they're actually really good. I've made a new friend. or actually, fucking hell, they're worse than I expected. That fucking asshole always steals my newspaper and my milk from my door all the time. So it depends on the person, but yeah.
And he's probably
that's clearly a joke, but overall, if you speak to enough people, you understand that actually they're not that different when it comes to the bare bones. As human beings, as people who would have compassion, all that, like they're not that different. As in with any culture, there are some assholes, there's some psychopaths, always. And they're amazing people, and they're just normal people as well. So, but when it comes to work, we kill it.
Yeah, bro, we do can put in a grind for real. I remember my night shift, 18 hours, bro. Doing a grind like that, just to get by.
Well,
just to get by, you can get to the next phase, man.
I was working at a hotel a long time ago. Thank God for that. So I would work in a restaurant for breakfast. So I would have to be at the restaurant at the hotel at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Jesus.
Work until 12 afternoon. have 1 hour break, which usually meant to go to the locker rooms, and they would have like the size of half of your chest, basically this much, the benches that
Yeah.
you would sit on. So I would sleep there, sleep for an hour, have some food, and maybe sleep for about 45 minutes, and then after that work in the events, carrying tables and setting tables and all that until about 1 o'clock in the morning.
Oh my God.
Go.
And then what? Did you go to sleep straight away? No, not even.
Well, I would have to get home first, right? So
And how far was home?
oh
Oh no, I thought you stayed in a hotel. I don't know why. I thought you
No, I
stayed in a
didn't.
hotel.
No. I couldn't afford it, and for a hotel, I'm like, who the hell is this guy? He's just
No, because
somebody in a
some
restaurant.
hotels they offer accommodation for some staff. I think no.
During,
I don't know
during
why I
Chri-
thought that. I don't know.
during,
I thought that. I
yeah,
don't know.
they do, but only during Christmas period when there is no transport.
Oh, okay. All right. Cool. That
Yeah.
makes sense. Yeah. So how
So
far was home?
about 45 an hour.
And was it on the other side of like?
Well, it's from
Where you
central
wanna
London
get
to Acton Town, Piccadilly line.
So you lived in Acton?
Yeah.
Oh my days. And
Yeah.
every day. How long was that?
Almost every day. I did that during my break from the university. I was a student.
And when you
Uh,
were a student, just for everyone, when you were a student, I don't know if we've covered this. When you were a student, did you you weren't allowed to do specific hours during?
No,
term
you
time,
you were
correct?
only allowed to do 20 hours a week.
Fuck. Yeah, I remember this from the people that used to work with us. 20 hours
But
a week.
yeah, when you're not on holiday, when you go on holiday, you can work as much as you can.
Yeah, you
but
can do overtime. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can do much more hours. 20. What was the wage?
at the time, £3, I think.
What?
£3, 10 pence. Like, well, it's like, what, almost 15 years ago.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
That is absolutely. That's what I'm saying. People, this is what you call a grind.
But remember that you would get $2 for £1 that time. It's going back to
Oh
that.
my God.
It's going back to that. So the value of your money was much higher.
Yeah.
So you would and that would transfer into your normal grocery shopping as well, because you would buy things that were imported from Europe for much cheaper price, so you could afford it cheaper in pounds too.
And you had to cover your own tuition fees, correct?
I think first quarter was paid by my parents, because you have to pay them in
Yeah.
advance before coming to the country,
Mm-hmm.
and then the rest, yeah, just working and paying it off.
And how easy was that process for you to get into the country, bro?
For me, because my brother came before me, we
okay.
already knew the route. But for my brother, I think it was a bit, it was much tougher than me.
And what made it tough when you say that? This is interesting. What makes it tough?
Well,
What made
not
it
knowing
tough
the
for him?
place, culture shock, not knowing how to open a bank account. You don't have your smartphones to walk around, so you don't know. You have to get A to Z, London A to Z, if you guys remember.
Yeah.
Going to agencies, like trying to get a job and all that. It was everything new. The things that you do back home was completely 180 degrees different to the way you would do it in London. So
And
yeah,
what about in terms of the applications where your brother was trying to get in? Was that difficult for? Because I know some people do struggle; they don't get accepted for the student visa. So
what we did, we did it smart. So we actually
Okay.
hired an agency who was specializing in sending people,
Oh, good stuff.
the students. So and yeah, no, they helped quite a lot. The difficulty was that, for example, he was going to study programming, right?
Okay.
Study basic technical stuff, and the ambassador had to interview each person who was applying back then,
Oh, okay.
and that was, I think, what, 2004. So what, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, 4 2003 or 2004, something like
Yeah.
that. And the ambassador actually had a chat with my brother, and he was going through. He fucking studied overnight about what to ask, specific questions about IT.
Mm.
The names and naming conventions. Like how would you do, like giving him like equations to solve in like programming and all that shit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, shit, man, that's tough. That's a tough interview to go through.
Yeah, of
And
course.
if you
That could be
don't-
very overwhelming, huh?
yeah, exactly. And you're going as a student to study the subject. You're not a fucking expert. Like you can't expect somebody to have the answers already. But the good thing was that my dad was a programmer himself. He was
Yeah,
director
sweet.
in the in the IT
Good old
department
dad.
of the university. So we were always brought up in that environment, so he knew the answers, thankfully. But for me, it was much easier. It was just apply and then wait. You know, I never had to speak to anyone.
You played it smart. You were like, yeah, I've seen this before. Now I know exactly what.
Well,
I
they
need
didn't
to
ask
do.
me to do that. I don't know if the ambassador left, you know, to do something else. All I did was just go there, and then they took my documents, and then they got my fingerprints and all that shit, and then that's it. I was gone.
How long between your application? How long between your application?
Oh man,
and-
you're asking that like a long time ago, man. I can't remember, but I think it took probably a few months.
Oh, that's all right. That's not too bad.
Yeah, it wasn't
Yeah,
too
some
bad.
people have to wait years.
Well, I think it was half a year, most likely like 6 months or so.
Oh, that's not too bad.
Yeah.
That's still not too bad, man. You had to wait 6 months to come and change your life.
The thing is, if you get rejected once, then that's difficult. Then you will wait years, most likely. But if you don't get
My God.
rejected for the first time, then it's usually smooth sailing.
Well, if you didn't pass, bro, we wouldn't be sitting here having this conversation. So well done.
Really.
I'm grateful for it. Obviously, I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful.
Imagine
So,
we were
bro,
trying to go to America first.
So, bro, when you going back to your country then?
As summer come, I don't
Leave
know.
my country, bro.
I need to book it off. I think I need to plan it with the holidays from school. That's the only time I can go.
Do you still have to do the tests flying at the moment?
At the moment, I think you have to do them, but they're much cheaper than before. They
Yeah,
were
but
like
there's still,
hundreds of pounds before, and now they're about 20-30 quid.
but there's more because there's more companies now that the market's
Well,
saturated.
not that. I think they realized that the politicians were lobbying on their behalf to make it mandatory only for specific companies. A few of them got caught recently. I don't know if you're following the current affairs. Got caught lobbying for companies that they actually worked outside of
Yep.
Parliament.
Yep.
So yeah, those companies go. I don't know how it works, man. Same as with PPE at the time.
Yeah.
Why were you buying like something from Turkey when the companies in fucking UK were saying, "Hey, we can produce at half the price, and we are businesses locally. You know what? If the manufacturing costs are covered, we don't even want to make profit on that." They were saying that like, "No, we're gonna buy it from Turkey for trillions of pounds."
Did you know? I'll tell you something about politics. Yeah, politics never fails to deliver drama. Yeah, never.
Yeah.
If you ever want to
have drama,
watch
it's
drama,
like United States feeds of war.
Yeah.
Politics feeds of fucking drama.
if you ever want to do that, forget about the Kim Kardashians and the Kardashian reality TV show. Watch this. Just recently, did you read again in the news recently what happened? These the politicians that were basically they claimed back money and they were renting their second home.
Oh, okay, yeah. I mean, but not even that. I mean, I still don't understand why there's still lords around. You know,
What do you mean? What lords?
the people who sign off any
The title,
any-
basically.
No. You know that like if so the MPs would pass legislation, right?
Yeah.
And it needs to be a law. Then it has to go through the House of Lords.
Yes. Okay.
them
Yeah,
to
I get what you're talking about.
Bang
now.
the fucking stick a couple of times on the ground and like we approve or whatever the shit they do. And all of those people are either people who've donated or helped or whatever did to the prime minister or the party at the time. Then they become lords, so they would get shitloads of money just
Land.
by turning up.
Yeah.
They don't do anything. They just wear some piss-smelling wigs, and I'm not joking about that. They do smell like, especially Parliament smells to this day smells of piss because wigs in the
Right.
19th century, the wigs, you know, the judges, the ones
Yes,
that
I
the
was
judges
just
wear,
about to talk about them.
they
yeah.
they were actually made with, as far as I know, cow piss. I'm not sure. So
What?
they had
What
they had to
piss?
make it with some kind of piss, so that they would be the way they are, and that's one of the reasons why Parliament.
Cultures, ladies and gentlemen.
But that's one of the reasons why Parliament is still fucking smells like piss. Rightly
Oh
so.
my god, that is an absolute amazing fun fact for you, lot. Love it.
But I think they've changed it to these plastic ones now.
Yeah, but why are they still wearing them though? What does it do? Like, this is what I'm trying to understand. Like,
I guess it's
What
like protocol and tradition. It's like why do I don't know. I mean,
but are you gonna deliver the verdict any better with it on or?
I guess not. I mean, like in America they wear this weird
The robe, yeah, they wear,
shawl or whatever it's called.
yeah, something like
The
that.
robe, yeah. But yeah, in Britain they wear this still 19th century wig. I guess it's still
And the
in the protocol. That's why it's conservatism, you know. Like they want to, you know, retain the traditions, which is fair enough. You know, I like that kind of stuff. But yeah, I don't know.
I'm just trying to understand why. I mean, I'd love. I'm probably gonna search.
Oh,
this
so back to my
afterwards.
point. Sorry, back to my point. So these lords, what they do is, they were just turning up. The good ones who actually, you know, had some kind of conscience, they would turn up, you know, bang the stick on the floor, and then they would, you know, approve the, because there's nothing they can do. You know, the fucking politicians said that it is. All they have to do is just say yes. But they still hold the power to say no. You know that. The unelected bunch of assholes who have power to destroy a legislation, to not pass the legislation that was sent through and approved by the elected officials. Can you imagine that? They still hold that power. They can just say no. You know. For example, if the government says like, look, euthanizing, I think that's the word. Is allowed now, so it's going to be legal. So for people to voluntarily, you know, commit suicide in the hospitals because they're in pain or whatever.
Yeah.
If they pass that, the Lord's bunch of, you know, conservative old pricks, they'll just think, no. What are you gonna do? That's it. You can't do it. That's
You can't
that's
do
the
it. Yeah,
Constitution.
exactly. There's
No,
nothing you can do.
Yeah, that's the Constitution. You can't go further than that. They said no. Yeah, there will be a lot of kerfuffle with the politicians fighting with the Lords, but at the end of the day, the law is not passed, right? But I don't think they're gonna do that. They're just superficially. They don't do anything. What I was going to say is that the bad ones, so the good ones were turning up. The bad ones they would come in, sign the book saying that they've turned up, and then fuck off again, and they would get the money for that day.
I told you. I don't know if I said this on one of the first podcasts that we did, but if you ever wanna lie, cheat, and steal, become a politician, you don't need to be a criminal. Like, you can do it legally.
Yeah. Sure.
And who's gonna touch you? No one's gonna fucking touch you. You're gonna be like, oh yeah, well, to be honest with you, I'm allowed to have a second home and rent it out and then claim expenses on it. Like, what?
Yeah, exactly.
Taxpayers' money, that second home.
I don't remember where this line came from. I think it was from one of the movies where politicians said, oh, it was from the game, I can't remember. That was saying that, if you're a poor politician, then you're a poor politician, meaning like you're a bad politician.
Yeah.
So you're clearly doing something wrong.
What was the guy that we had recently? What was his name? The Labour dude.
No, Jeremy Corbyn.
Jeremy Corbyn. Yeah, he's a poor politician.
He's a poor politician, I guess. Yeah, because he's selfless. He cares about other people.
Yeah, Bernie Sanders.
Bernie Sanders he's a horrible politician. Like, I don't even know what he's doing in politics. I mean, Hillary Clinton, amazing. Obama, oh my god, on a next level
shit. Next level. We're talking
look how much money he made from taking from 3 wars to 7 in a space of 2 years. You know,
forget that. Tony fucking Blair.
Oh yeah,
he's the king of them all. That guy, he's gone under the radar. He flew under the radar, and all of a sudden, after he obviously left the
you know what?
The office.
Yeah. Go on.
Go on.
No, I was gonna say, you know why he's gone under now?
Why? So yeah, because of the papers.
Yeah,
because of his wife.
His wife, you know, picked her little head up.
I don't know. I didn't know about
it's
it.
like, I'm a lawyer, qualified lawyer, but I didn't know about this law, like a loophole where I didn't have to pay stamp duty. I'm sorry.
She did the life in the UK test, bro. That's why she studied the life in the UK.
Honestly, these people. I mean, she bought a place for her lawyer office, an office for her employees who are lawyers. And then she was like, I don't know that, you know, if you would buy a property, as a company, that you wouldn't have to pay stamp duty, but that only if you were in the government that you didn't have to pay that stamp duty. Oh, so you didn't know that? Somehow you didn't pay about £300,000, and you didn't notice that you didn't have to pay that? Really?
I got a giant bill and I didn't know I had to pay it.
Come on. They think that people are stupid.
They do. They do. That's exactly what it is. That is exactly what it is. They think people are stupid, and
But
that's
they are. They're getting away with it. Where's
I
Tony Blair
know.
now? He's fucking
know.
enjoying himself in some way in Fiji.
I know because, bro, people don't look. The thing is, yeah, these people they know this. They can get away with all of this because at the end of the day, the papers are just gonna do it to sell the money, and the people are gonna read it so they can get the drama. That's all it is. Like when you're trying to do if you're trying to do the real shit, yeah, you have to do that on your own platform. You can't do that in a platform that's widely known like the government. You understand what I mean? Like you can't go near that because if you do go and try and change that shit, anytime someone's gone into power who did want to make a difference, guess where they are now, bro? Like they're right underneath there.
Yeah.
Like what? Let's say okay, JFK wasn't perfect, got taken out. Like Martin Luther King, you know, he was trying to make a difference, bang, got taken out. You know, even in my country, the Hariri, bro, he wasn't liked, but at one point he was starting to give back to the country, and the country was growing under him. Yeah, bang, took him out.
Yeah.
You know, it's like anytime someone wants to, and what about the Saudis as well? Now they've bought Newcastle United, obviously more laundering money, washing money in the Premiership and in football clubs everywhere. And guess what? A few years back, there was a journalist who was actually the journalist for the royal family under the old regime. Imagine he was the journalist for the royal family. He had access to everything, and he wrote whatever he was obviously, and he liked the family at the time. He got along with them. But what he realized is when this new dude came in, this new young guy who was supposed to be more liberal and showing he's liberal, he slowly started pushing this guy aside, the journalist, yeah, because obviously he wanted to get up to shit that he was obviously going to write about, and he didn't want it to be, spoken about. So what happens? This guy, he obviously leaves the country. He decides he can't live there anymore. It's not safe for him. So he just and he meets this lovely lady in Turkey, and they go and get engaged. And on the day that they're going, one day after they come back to the UK and then they leave again, he gets invited into
oh, you mean the
Al Qushayri or something like that.
Yeah.
And it turned out they assassinated him inside.
He leaves the embassy in body parts, right?
In body parts, yeah. He leaves the embassy in body parts. And a big scandal is all over.
Kosegi, something like that.
Yeah. Exactly. So imagine, bro, like this guy, he's just doing his job, and you are a piece of shit guy. You are a dickhead.
Apparently, they actually have an audio of them torturing him.
This is correct. Yeah. That's what I don't think it's been released,
heard it. Well, no, I heard it. They did release it partially, as far as I remember. Yeah. They obviously, what do you call it? They cut a few places, obviously, where it's too graphic, so that they don't show it to the public. But yeah, it was like they were literally torturing him before they killed him. Maybe he had a heart attack. They didn't plan to kill him. And then
that's appalling, man.
What are you gonna do? There's a body in the embassy. Oh, let's just like fucking serial killers, cut them in parts and just take out and dump it in the trash bins.
The worst part is the people that did the job were also the people that they've had pictures taken of, who are obviously bodyguards and
they were working.
The actual king. They're right there in the pictures behind them. Like, no, I didn't know that they did this. Oh yeah, bro. So they're all over. I mean, around you.
They proved it unequivocally. Like they proved it 100% that they did it. But what's happening now? Nothing.
Nothing. Yeah, because he's saying because obviously
you want my dollars. You want my oil, petrol for your dollars.
That's exactly what happened. That's it. That's exactly what happened.
I'm gonna stop it and sell it to Russia if you want.
Yeah,
that's what they said. Or China. Look, China is hungry for petrol right now. I'm gonna sell it to them. All the factories need petrol.
Yeah, that's exactly probably what happened. Knowing America's stance at the moment with how weak their fucking systems are.
America is going down recently.
It is an absolute shit show, mate.
Dollar is losing its value again. It's going back to that period when I was talking about like $2 for £1. The wars have stopped relatively around the world because that's how they feed off.
There's no funding.
Exactly, yeah. So if there is no war, then the economy would collapse most likely.
Imagine that. Their whole economy is built on wars.
But also the other trend is that all the developing countries, they've started to realize that, there is actually a decentralized currency that I can move to and be independent of dollars. And so when that happens is America would overflow with bills, which will cause inflation and even further devalue the the dollars. So
Guess what just happened in Africa? I think it was Angola. They've actually just introduced their own digital currency, and it's live. They're trading with it.
yeah,
Left, right, center. Everyone's
it.
trading with it. Normal. That's it. Done. They
Yeah.
don't need the dollar anymore.
That's it. Yeah. Even the mayor of New York, as far as I heard, has asked for his first 3 months' salary to be paid to him in Bitcoin.
Oi, genius, genius. Oi,
I know, right?
Bro, you know what? We might need to do that with work.
Oh.
I swear, how do you want to get paid?
To be
Bitcoin?
honest, at the moment, you can only afford to do that if you don't actually rely on that paycheck.
Yeah.
You know? If you need to pay your mortgage off that money or do anything else, then you're in trouble. So you can get it in Bitcoin and sell it off, but you can't keep it to wait until it gets higher value. If that makes sense.
Yeah. I get what you're saying. It has to be traded.
On Bitcoin news, I think I told you about that this kid who copied the website of a gift voucher giving company. I'm not gonna name it, but there's a website that you can go and buy a gift voucher.
Yeah.
So what he does is copies.
A to the Z, innit?
Yeah. So what he does is he copies the website exactly down to the almost similar URL, and then he pays Google to put his website above the original website on searches. And what happens is people are going and buying gift vouchers, but they're not the voucher that they receive is pretty much fake. And he made about £200,000. That's years back.
That is genius.
He got caught recently though. He bought, and the reason how they caught it, right? Listen to this. So they didn't care about 200,000 back then.
No, they never
like,
do.
They didn't give a shit. So what he did was with those 200,000, he bought Bitcoin. He had about 41 to up to 50 Bitcoin
Genius.
at the time, and you could buy like for about what was it, like £500? You could buy one Bitcoin, as far as I remember.
Yeah.
So he bought a lot of Bitcoin, and that Bitcoin was the value of about 20 million pounds now, or something like that.
God.
And then they were like, "Oh my God, there's free money we can make!" You know, the government, the tax man, like, "Hey, I'm gonna make 20 million pounds, and let's go get this kid now." You know?
Yeah.
I guarantee you, they probably knew about him when he was doing that. They probably knew that he got Bitcoin as well. They were just waiting for the money to grow.
That is what they do, bro. They're not gonna catch you when you look. They know that if you start doing this game, you're gonna get greedy and you're gonna want more.
It's
So
like
they leave you to it.
It's like the oligarchs in Russia, you know, like
Yeah.
Putin just sits there and waits, and then please don't give me Novichok, by the way. So he just sits there and waits for those oligarchs around him to be filthy rich, and then he would just send his army and it's like, hey, take his assets. Oh, this person is a traitor to the government, and he illegally stole our money, so he's a traitor. And then he goes fucks off to London with his money, invested in property. That's empty to this day.
If you're a Chelsea fan, Roman Abramovich, by the way, we're talking about.
Well, yeah, well, any Russian that's living in UK right now, a rich Russian.
There's another one. There is another one. Where is he living? I think he was. There was a recent one where they were talking about, and it was.
Oh yeah. In the Pandora Papers.
Yes.
Yeah. He
They've got,
basically
like,
has
an
a fucking
estate out
castle.
wide.
Not an estate. It was a castle.
That's the one. It was a castle. The guy's got a castle in the UK, and he's running. He's running from the Russians.
Yeah.
And it's weird. Imagine in most cases, like, imagine if he was a normal citizen and running away from his country and trying to come to the UK. Imagine how difficult they would have made it for him.
Yeah, it would have been an
coming in
asylum
with
seeker.
that much money, and he's going, listen, I've got all this money. I'm looking for asylum.
Yeah, exactly. The difference is that if you don't have money, then you will be an asylum seeker. That you would have to prove that you're not a terrorist, or if you're coming from European country, then it's likely easier to get an asylum. But you have to prove the fact that you're being terrorized back home and all that shit, or prosecuted back home for your religious, whatever, illegitimate reason. Whereas if you have money, you come to London, like you fly in with your private jet with bags full of cash. You go and buy a house for, like, let's say 5 million with cash. They don't ask you where you got the cash from.
They never
Trust me.
ask.
If you buy a property in UK with cash, they don't ask you where you got it from. If you fucking buy it with a credit card or with your money in your bank account, they will ask for every single penny where you got it from. And
That's insane.
so they buy a house. So they basically washed all their money now, right?
Yes.
So they might have 20 million back home, but they only brought 5 million because 20 million was a bribe to Putin, and then for him not to kill them with Novichok. So they would bring the 5 million and leave the rest to Putin, and then they would buy a house, and then what the government does is, hey, I'm gonna throw in a passport for you, fucking hell. You've invested
Yeah,
more than £1 million in UK. There you
but
go.
don't
passport.
forget about the extra 100 million that's sitting in offshore bank accounts through fake companies as well.
Yeah, true. Exactly. But you can't use it though. They can't use it because they have to keep up the face, right?
Yeah.
It's for the rainy day. Oh, there's a good show on Netflix called The Kings of Scam. I would advise you to watch it.
Ooh, that sounds quite
It's
good.
about Tunisian guys going to France and doing some selling some shit basically.
Arabs, mate. Arabs.
Yeah. Honestly, watch it, man. It's funny.
Wherever you go. Even
Anyway.
here, bro.
I think it's time
Right.
for us to wind down.
Yes, I think we're gonna wind down for this one. Thank you, whoever joined us today. We appreciate it. We hope you enjoyed it. When are we doing the next one?
Not next week, the week after, which is
You know what I think we should do? We should do
26.
maybe at some point we should do like a kind of reaction podcast or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the reactions only work when you have a certain amount of followers.
Yeah, but still, for us, it will still be jokes. We can link it. You never know.
Yeah.
You can link it to all the right words. You never know what happens.
Exactly.
So, you know what I'm saying? So, anyway, till next time, guys. Thank you very much for tuning in. Big boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, thank you. So we are going to be live again on the 26th, and we keep saying that we want to be, more, on point, on schedule, but things happen. But we will try. We're going forward to be on time.
No, I think
not miss one.
we will do. I think the YouTube thing. I think it worked very well today.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was like to set up for you. Was it easier to set up?
It was just moving a slider, so
Okay. All right.
it was
Fair
easy.
enough.
And logging in, but that's fine. But yeah, no, thanks very much, guys.
Nice
Until
one, bro.
next time, hopefully we'll see you, you and your friends. Please spread the word. And yeah,
Goodbye, everybody.
bye.